Call the meeting to order. Lexi, will you take roll, please?
Commissioner Corbin?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Waldner?
Here.
Commissioner Phil?
Here.
Mayor Denner?
Here. We have the agenda in front of you. I have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion, we adopt agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Nothing under appearance and acknowledgement. Consent calendar. Anybody want anything moved off the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Down under unfinished business. It is 5:30, so we'll open up the public hearing upon application for the sale of alcoholic beverages, transfer of retail, on and off sale malt beverage, and South Dakota farm wine license. Noel Harrelson, Dewey Park concession stand to C.J. Schaefer, LLJ, Dewey Park concession stand. We have C.J. Okay.
So yeah, my big thing with taking over the concession stand is to kind of help lower the cost for the fees for us in the future. Just because we've had kind of a few complaints about, like, you know, the league, people don't want to play for 8 weeks and pay $500 for the league, and so we're trying to figure out ways to lower the cost for it and to make it more, hopefully get more teams come out again, because we're down, I think, 12 teams for what we were like 4 years ago. So hopefully that will help out. And that was just my big thing with it, is just to kind of help lower the cost and, you know, keep this concessions going and keep the softball league going in Madison. So.
Okay. We have anybody else to have comments? If not, we'll move down into the new business where we approve the application for sales of alcoholic beverages, transfer of retail, on and off sales, malt beverage, and South Dakota farm wine license. Noel Harrelson, Dewey Park concession stand to C.J. Schaefer, LLC, Dewey Park concession stand.
I'll move that.
Second.
Just comment. If I can
Yes.
Just comment. I have checked with Mike from the parks. I don't think there's any concerns over that we have about this. So we talked about it a couple of different times. So good luck, Cam.
Do you ever get tired of coming down here?
It's not bad.
You like
It's not yet so far anyway. I got out of softball for the night doing this, so it's kind of nice.
So you want us to drag it on a little longer for you?
I got all night. So
There you go.
Yeah, I got
So we have a motion and second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam.
Thank you, Cam.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Number 2 under new business, authorize mayor to sign letter of agreement, First District Association of Local Government update to 2008 Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Chad, did you?
Yes,
Comment?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Included in the agenda packet is a letter of agreement and an attachment showing the work elements for an update to the comprehensive plan that was done in 2008. You may recall that this was before you several weeks ago to acknowledge. At that time we talked a little bit about this, and I requested at that time that it go before the Planning Commission for their review as well, so they could they may want to tweak this or tweak that, or and then ultimately provide a recommendation. So we did have it on an agenda. They talked about it. They didn't have any recommended changes, and they did recommend proceeding with the City Commission. Recommended to the City Commission that you approve this. So we'll go through this process starting in October and finishing in 2021 is when we thought it'd finally get to the adoption process. Fixed a few typos was the only thing. It's $15,000, the estimated fee for this. We have $10,000 in the budget for this year, 2019. So we'll have to add another 5,000, whether it's 2020 or 2021, if we want to proceed with this level of work. So I would recommend that we proceed with this.
It's time to do it. I know we talked about it a little bit a few weeks ago, but yeah, it's something we think we should move forward with. I'd say the Planning Commission's eager to dive into it. It's going to be a fair amount of work and several meetings, but something we should do and need to do. So with that, I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of agreement, First District Association of Local Governments, update to 2008 Comprehensive Land Use Plan.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any more comments or discussion?
Mr. Mayor, one
Yes.
quick comment is obviously the timing of this is perfect. And Chad, if you would go back to those on the Planning Commission, tell them thank you because they're going to be awfully busy.
That would be more than just their regular monthly meetings, and
Yep.
that's another reason I thought it'd be good to be before them, to give them a little heads up and
Yeah.
make sure they didn't want to stretch it out a little bit longer, even to catch their breath a little bit in between. So
Yep.
yes, I'll pass those sentiments along.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, with a motion and a second, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Number 3, authorize mayor to sign service order number 2, Banner Associates, Inc., sanitary and storm sewer improvement for water system improvement project. And we would fund this through both the general and the sewer cash balance. So
Because the storm sewer is general fund obligation, and
That's right.
the sanitary sewer is its own enterprise fund, of course. But I guess we've hinted this was coming for a while now, part of the RD project for the street and the water. It only makes sense that we'd replace the parts of the sanitary sewer that need upgrading. So this does authorize Banner to do the engineering work for those, and then we've also thrown the stormwater stuff on. Chad, I'm kind of stealing your thunder. I should have probably let you start. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I can say a few things and add into it whatever's necessary. This included in the agenda packet is the service order. Again, as Commissioner Corbin has mentioned, we talked a little bit about this forthcoming in some previous meetings. Again, as Commissioner Corbin had mentioned, the rural development project, I'll refer to it as that, for the water main, is going to be tearing up a portion of the street, up to a third or a half of the street in many instances. And so we've been talking quite a bit about the other parts of the infrastructure, the street itself, but then also the storm sewer and sanitary sewer. If we're there working on it, disturbing the streets, it seems like it's the right time for sure to look at the condition of the other systems and if there's repairs and or replacements, or if we find out from some investigation that we can get by and we'll just line them in the future, we'll do that. So what this does is for Banner to review some of that televising that we have done and provide reports for seeking funding, whether it's from state revolving loan funds through the DENR or other fund agencies, including potentially rural development, also approaching them for this. This will prepare the necessary reports to apply for that funding. And then there would be a subsequent and separate service order if, depending on the condition assessment, there'd be a separate one for the actual design component, the design and then construction administration. It would be a standalone subsequent one. We don't know the extent of that, of course, because we don't have the results and we haven't been able to review this information. So, yeah, with that, I can stand by for questions.
The only thing I was going to mention in the storm sewer was that they were doing storm sewer work only in the intersections that were going to disturb. It wasn't going to be a full-fledged storm sewer study, and it wasn't going to be a changing of the outfalls or anything like that. So this is limited in scope and the storm sewer to the intersections that we're disturbing to make sure that we're collecting the water and getting it into the storm sewer and arranging things so that everything fits. Because in some places, we're probably going to have to look at moving the storm sewers a little bit to meet the ADA ramp requirements and some of that. So that's the reason for that in there, so that we can finish the work that's at the intersections.
Yeah, thank you, because that's a good distinction. You see storm sewer, you may think, well, we're going to tear up long stretches of storm sewer. That's not our intent at this point with some of the preliminary things we've done. It's been only to configure the intersections and reestablish the inlets. It would be a much larger scope, I would dare say, if we would do a full hydraulic analysis and bring the entire storm system, sizing of inlets, sizing of pipes, all up to any particular standard. You know, we have some standards in our subdivision regulations, but to the standard of which storm you design for and how much inundation of the streets, and all that becomes much more. So we're trying to keep an eye on economics. If there were any bad areas that we had some localized flooding or something, we certainly would address it, but we're not aware of any. So we're hoping we can do an economical amount of work with this project and not break the bank, among other things. So.
Well, the parts of town we're looking at have a fair amount of elevation change,
Yes.
and they're relatively close to the creek, so it's not an elaborate stormwater system in this part of town, I'd
Yes.
say.
I guess probably for clarification, could you tell us, is it you said the areas that are being disturbed, I'm assuming you're along the Washington Avenue project?
This is actually in more or less the northwest
Okay.
quadrant.
On
And then there's going to be some up by Summit in that area, Prairie, but the bulk of it is in the northwest quadrant of town.
And we're hopeful once this study is done at our sanitary sewer, we can, I'm hopeful we'll get some grant money for the construction.
And there definitely will be construction on the sanitary sewer, because I know there's at least 2 lines that they can't get through still, even with taking the protruding taps out, because there's some issues with it. So I know there's going to be some work that's going to have to be done on the sanitary sewer already. How much more, we don't know, but that'll be a replacement project in that one case.
It's probably been there 40, 50 years or more.
Probably double that, or
100
more.
years old?
100 years old or more.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, 1900s, that's when most of the sanitary sewers started going in, and in the cross estate, so it could easily be over 100 years old.
Probably can't ask anybody who put it in, though. Huh?
We could ask.
I think, Mike, that's a good point, though. We've talked about this as a commission before. Things are outdated.
Yeah.
It's probably not the most glamorous for us, but it is critical, you know, and it's left to us. So let's be about the business, you know, it's left to us to do. So I think we're trying to get our arms around that the best we can within the resources that we have.
I'll make a motion, we authorize mayor to sign service order number 2, Banner Associates Incorporated, sanitary and storm sewer improvements for water system improvement project.
Second.
Did you want to add where we're getting the funds?
I certainly can, with the funds being split between the enterprise fund and the general funds. I don't know those amounts, though. We didn't talk about the amounts.
It's in here, what is it? $15,000?
Yeah, sanitary sewer is 20,900 for the evaluation, plus 12,300 for the for the 2 of them. So that's split. We'd have to do the math.
I will leave it to Jen and Lexi to do
Yeah.
the math on that.
Just
So-
state it's coming from the cash
We'll just
balance.
verify that in the minutes next week, thank
Yep.
you.
Respectively as needed between the 2 of the funds that need to be appropriately used.
You might.
Yep.
Did I have a second?
Yep.
Yes.
Bob seconded? Okay.
Yep.
Any further comments, discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Number 4, authorize mayor to sign change order number 3, D&G Concrete Construction, Inc., PCN X04E, Project 2019-1, Highway 34, Washington Avenue reconstruction. Chad?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Included in the agenda packet is a 2-page change order for the project, which has a lot of narrative information talking about the different items included in the change. Also, on that document, there's a reference to a plan sheet, replacement sheet number 16. I did pass those around. I have those available now. I had a draft version previously, but now you have the stamped version here. But what this change order is really 2 different components. One is for the water main portion of the project, and it's most specifically described where we're tying into a lot of these adjacent streets. There's 4-inch lines we're tying into, and we're trying to add valves near those tie-in points so that we can pressure test the new lines, which is a requirement, all the way up to those valves. And so what we're doing is changing the size of the line that will ultimately be abandoned when those 4-inch mains are abandoned. We're changing it from an 8-inch to a 4-inch. That's why you see the 4-inch various fittings, and then bends and gate valves and such. They're a little more economical than an 8-inch valve and bends and such like that. And so the change for these first 3 items, they're all new line items, are to take it from a 8-inch to a 4-inch. Some of these connection points. We've estimated 5 locations. It may be plus or minus 1 or 2 for that, likely minus. But and so that total of those top 3 items is about $10,000, $9,877.45. So that's for the water main portion. The other portion in the bottom half of sheet 1, I'll describe it that way, is for a storm sewer crossing at First Street North. There was on this particular project, the DOT put in an entirely new storm sewer system, and for the most part, there was no system remaining that is just our system being the city system. There's some connections and adjustments they've had to make to some of our city pipes. But at First Street North, the design was to not disturb an existing storm sewer pipe we have running across First Street South. And so when that was exposed, we had determined that is a clay tile pipe with brick manholes at each end on either side of the roadway. We did not want to, and that's going to be a system that's entirely maintained by us going forward into the future. So we did not believe it was a prudent nor a good idea to leave that old clay line or those old brick manholes in the highway, with the new highway we're putting in. So we had worked with the contractor and HR Green to come up with a layout and details for new PVC storm sewer pipe and new precast manholes to replace that old one that was supposed to be left undisturbed. So the cost of that work, in summary, is about just a little bit over $26,000. All but a few of the items are current bid items, so we're just extending the number of units for those items. So we're confident in the pricing. There was a few other ones that are new bid items. In particular, the structure, the structures, correct. They were new, but we were able to compare them to similar existing bid items, and those prices were reasonable. With that, I would recommend that we approve this change order. The net changes with this change on the project is about just under $33,000, or about 2.6% of the contract. We certainly don't expect any large items like this to come up at any point. There'll be what I would describe as minor items, I do believe, where there might be a few more feet of 8-inch pipe or 12-inch pipe, and a few less of other items that will vary the cost of the project and vary the final units, the final true-up, if you will, some, but no large dollar items like this storm sewer crossing. I don't anticipate any of those anymore. So with that, I'd be happy to stand by for questions to try to answer this or anything else.
Did you check them catch basins out down there by Builders Supply, by Casey's? Because
Yes,
that all
yes.
runs down Southeast Third, and if I remember right, I think that's only a 15-inch line coming out of them catch basins.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's two locations, one at Center Street and one at Southeast Third, where the DOT is replacing a portion of our storm sewer system. We were hoping that they would replace this too, but that's not how it worked out. The reason they're not doing it on this system is because this would have totally not intersected any of the new storm sewer system they're putting in. At Center Street and at 3rd Street South, it did intersect, and so they had to make some adjustments to the system. And so to answer your question most specifically, or to address what you had said, is that water and that coming down 3rd Street from west to east, there'll be some collection points that will keep that water in our system, continue extending, pushing that farther on to the east in that system. But then there's also another set of storm inlets there that will collect any bypass water in the DOT system, the new system they're putting in, which extends basically all the way from Center Street, about Center Street, all the way down to the creek. And so they'll intercept a little bit more water in their own system and discharge it down there.
Okay.
I maybe got a little more into the weeds than we needed to, but and I could be happy to look at that closer with you, know,
Okay.
on the side if you'd like to
Yeah.
as well. So,
I think it's good that you're getting rid of the brick manholes, and, you know, it's like, what is it, less than $5,000 for a manhole, and, you know, for materials at least, but, you know, it's just prudent to do it now while we're in the mess, so it's a good catch on you, especially because we have to maintain it going forward. So let's take care of it now.
it was a big part of our recommendation.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we authorize mayor to sign change order number 3, D&G Concrete Construction Incorporated, PCN X04E, project 2019-1, and this is the Highway 34 Washington Avenue reconstruction.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further comment, discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Number 5, authorize mayor to sign grant application, South Dakota Department of Health, West Nile Virus Protection or Prevention. I see Mike's in the audience. You want to come up and...
Hi, everyone. Every year, the state provides some funding for communities for West Nile prevention, mosquito control, surveillance, and so every year we apply for it. This year is no different. I just didn't fill out the grant application at the end of the day, so it has to be in by the June 1st, so we need your approval to send it off to the state.
Aren't there normally two parts to this?
What's
Or am
that?
I mistaken?
They used to have a surveillance and then an adult mosquito control grant, and they merged them all together. Bill Shellcraft is in charge of it through the state, but they merged it all together. So we used to get 2 grants, now we're down to 1.
Very nice.
we're certainly going to have mosquitoes this year.
Yes, we are.
Already.
I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the grant application for South Dakota Department of Health West Nile virus prevention. That's for item number 5 on new business on the agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion?
Mike, anything else that you want to say about the collections or anything?
One thing about it is it's gonna, the water temperature's starting to get to the magic where we're gonna have bloom and the mosquitoes are gonna start hatching. So if you got standing water in buckets and rain gutters and swimming pools in your backyard and stuff, if you can dump them out, it'll sure help us with the control of them. It's still gonna be tough.
Old tires.
Make sure you wear heat and lemon juice and all that stuff.
Whatever.
Okay. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Mike.
If I may, Mayor,
Yeah.
one thing about that is, I don't know if we've talked about this before, you had indicated at the park board meeting that it does make a difference when we spray.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't remember, I want to say the sewer system, but you just talked about that quite a bit, and it's a notable difference when we do
All the
treat it.
sewer or storm drains have been treated with bugs. So, when we, adults, we have traps that we set, and you can drastically see the difference if it's just like mountains or valleys, and they keep coming back, then you spray again, and it goes back down. So, legitimately, you can see, logistically, you can see it on the traps, swimming trap. And we have 3 different traps in all different areas of town. We're looking at part of the surveillance money, get 2 more traps, so that if we have a complaint area, we can take the trap, put it in somebody's backyard, say, yeah, you do have a mosquito problem, we need to go look, or we have 1,000 in this one, we have 100 in a different area, we better be looking for the area that the mosquitoes are hatching and stuff. So,
It does make a difference.
then we do know when we do our surveillance, we're not spraying when we shouldn't be spraying. So if we're only catching 10 mosquitoes a night in the traps, we probably don't want to be spending the money. But if we got 2,000 of them in the traps, we might spray 2 nights in a row to try to knock them down. I'm predicting about the 4th of July to be absolutely crazy that week. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet.
For courage.
Number 6, authorize bidding and set bid date on AIP 3-46-0029-017-2019 rehabilitate and remark runway 15-23 and turnabout. We have Jake from KLJ and
Yeah, so I was actually here probably a couple months ago with the design portion of this, and we spoke a little bit on the whole project then. But it is the rehabilitation of the runway, and actually the tax ceilings also are included in this project out at the airport. It's basically all the concrete out there. What we're doing is removing and replacing the joint sealant to prolong the life of the concrete. Everything's looking pretty good, but the joint sealant's failing, so what we'll do is we'll go in, take it out, and reapply it to extend the life. The pavement's out there doing great actually, but this will just an ongoing maintenance effort to keep that concrete pavement up. So basically we're just here to get the approval for advertising for bids. The plans are basically complete, and the advertisement would go out on the 30th of May if approved, and we would receive bids on June 18th, and then we would come back to review the bids and then submit a grant application by a June 28th grant application deadline. So that's kind of the project timeline. I guess I can open it up to Chad if you have any further comments or any questions from the commissioners or mayor.
No, I just invited Jake to come to the meeting. You had to come up and look at something on the project.
I got just
Anyway,
one minor thing, and I think on the title it's mislabeled. It should be 1533.
Yep, you're correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure they're 180 degrees apart,
Yep.
so
Yep.
it should be a 15 and a 33.
Yep, the title is
I just want to make that correction in the
thank
minutes.
you, Brad.
Yeah, 1523, and I think that is just on the title sheet. I believe the notice is squared away correctly.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah.
You ever get a dog leg in them, or?
Yeah.
It'd be quite the dog leg.
Anyway.
You may
sorry.
recall that oftentimes the state bids a statewide type project like this, but they had requested that we do this on our own for a variety of reasons, and so we agreed to do that. In the end, they would, I believe, they would have funded the statewide one the same way they're funding this, but then it's a little more work for us, just facilitating KLJ and through the process.
Well, the thing about the statewide one is it mainly addresses asphalt pavements at GA Airport, so this is the concrete one, so when they go out for a big state bid, it doesn't really make that much sense for them because they only have a few concrete GA airports that they do this at. So they actually approached them about getting this project included in the upcoming, and they've actually kind of fronted more funding up front than we normally would get, so it's an extra bonus for you guys to get the project done. This year, normally with our general entitlement funds, the funds wouldn't have been there to do this project for probably at least another year. So they kind of brought some money forth to make the project move up and get completed, and then the construction, if everything goes well with the bids and everything's on budget and the funding comes in, it'll be this fall probably for the construction.
I'll make a motion, we authorize bidding and set bid date June 18th, 3 p.m. That what it says here?
That's what I was going to say.
Well, then I'll say it too then. AIP 3-460029-017-2019 to rehabilitate Remark Runway 15-33 and turnarounds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion,
Just
comments?
Thanks for working with the state on that and
No.
kind of separating all that, so appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further comments or discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Number 7, adopt resolution number 2019-13, approve a replat lot 6A and 6B, Block 1, Schaefer Second Edition. I see Paul Schultz is in the audience, if you want to step up.
I can say a few words too.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. This is a replat. Typically, well, not all the time, but oftentimes replats are not. They're not required to go before the Planning Commission first. Sometimes we opt to send them for the Planning Commission first. This one didn't seem necessary. This one has been platted a couple years ago, and for a variety of reasons, to separate these into 2 separate ownership lots for a duplex situation, I believe, from Mr. Schultz. We wanted to pursue this. Everything is in compliance with our zoning ordinances, lot size, setbacks, and so on, even with this change, and it's something that he wanted to do, and we were able to get this on the agenda in short order for him to allow him to proceed. I would recommend approval of the plat, the replat, I should say.
Where is this located at, Chad?
Over by, what's the name?
Silver Creek.
Silver Creek
Oh,
Circle.
over at Silver Creek, okay.
Yeah.
502 and 504 Silver Creek.
Okay. Do you have-
Different Schaefer, but Cam, do you have any thoughts?
Paul, did you have anything?
No.
Okay.
You split it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2019-13, approve replat lot 6A and 6B, Block 1, Schaefer Second Edition.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion? And being this is a resolution, I'll ask Lexi for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Corbin,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move down to number 9, approve application for alcoholic beverages license renewal.
Skipped 8.
What's that?
You skipped 8.
Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back up to 8. Approve Heartland Consumer Power District Integration Resource Plan. Brad, did you have?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you should have in your packet a few things, the cover letter and then also the integrated resource plan. This is a requirement of our WAPA allocation that we have to file this. And it's something that goes through and we look at the load that we have, project it forward and compare it to our resources to make sure that we have adequate resources. And then we also look at what we're doing on the demand side, things like LED lights, the appliance rebates that we give to incentivize people to get more efficient appliances, air conditioners, that type of stuff. One of the things that's in here, if you look through it, is they do show the load growth, and one of the nice things about it is that Madison has a nice, pretty steady load growth. If you look at some of the other loads, you see they've been pretty volatile, and some are actually going downhill. And so that's something that's pretty nice to see, is a consistent load growth that goes on here in Madison. But that also means that we are taxing the resources more, and so it becomes more important for us to do things like the LED lighting and that type of stuff. And so that's what we're doing, and that's what this report does, is it summarizes for all the customers in Heartland. Heartland does this as an aggregator. They put everything together, and they file a joint plan for all of the customers, and we're part of that. So this is just us allowing them, authorizing them to file the integrated resource plan on our behalf. I recommend approval.
We do this annually?
I believe this is every 5 years that we have to do a big update. But there's an annual update, but I think there's a 5-year big plan. But it is an annual requirement.
Any other comments or discussion?
I move to approve the Heartland Consumer Power District Integrated Resource Plan.
Second?
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move down to number 9. Thank you, Bob. Approve application for alcoholic beverages license renewal 2019-2020 retail on and off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine.
Is this all of them?
Yep.
You could keep this packet as like a checklist. Any concerns, Commissioner Waldner, from a public safety standpoint?
No, the chief is here, but he's maybe going to speak later on the other items. And no, certainly on the malt beverage side of things, on-off sale, they have a good working relationship, I would say, with all of the businesses in town. And so far, I mean, it's been working out pretty well, and no issues from a public safety standpoint. They've been adhering to the rules and the laws.
Commissioner Thill, all the appropriate fees been paid by applicants?
As far as I know.
Yes. If they're in the list, yes.
Wonderful.
I'll make a motion we approve applications for alcoholic beverage license renewals 2019-2020 retail on-off sale malt beverage and SD farm wine.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion, comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Number 10, declare as surplus property, appoint appraisers Justin, Mike, and Chad, and set a bid date, bid number 884 for the 2004 Harley Davidson motorcycle FLHPI DOM. Chief Meyer, anything to
Just quick, we've had this motorcycle since it was brand new. We got it on a lease deal through Harley Davidson at $1 a year. I believe it was for the first 3 or 4 years. And then we purchased it outright at a reduced rate after that. It hasn't seen much use in the last couple of years, and so therefore we figured it would be best to move it on down the road to somebody that could use it more, and we could get a little bit of a return on our money on it, so.
You don't want to ride it around?
Nope, I don't.
A couple weeks ago,
My
my wife
experience
just,
ended at about age 12 in a dirt bike, so.
Ended.
Your boys don't want to ride it?
They're not quite big enough yet, so we're gonna get rid of it while we can.
And the helmet didn't fit me, so.
Would be a good commissioner ride.
Yeah, that's what I was
There you
thinking
go.
too. I'm like,
Take it
what?
out to pier.
Yeah. I make a motion, we declare a surplus property and appoint myself, Chief Meyer, and Chad, I believe, as the appraisers, and set a big date for bid number 884 for the 2004 Harley Davidson motorcycle. And I don't have that bid date in front of me.
June 12th.
June 12th.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Last item is declare surplus property and authorize for proper disposal of the list of the equipment from the police department.
What you see on that list is a number of items that we have had in our inventory for a number of years. The 2 laptops, I believe, are 15 and 16 years old respectively. Everything's at the end of its lifespan and has little to no value. So we did a little spring cleaning again this year and just looking to clean out the closet a little bit.
I don't know, Corbin, can you use a 15, 16-year-old laptop? Replace that. little
Kelly
thing-
might be able to bring her
that-
back to
that-
life.
That little thing you have there, you can lug it around to all the meetings.
I'm kind of looking at those radar units.
I suppose since we're not gonna have the motorcycle anymore, we don't need the motorcycle microphone anymore.
Well, correct.
It only makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we declare a surplus property and authorize the proper disposal of miscellaneous police department equipment.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further comments, discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Public, no public comments. Any announcements? No executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move for adjournment?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Yeah.
nay. Get